Hi, I'm Edequa from Edequa's Room, and this is my puzzle, Beep Boop. Shows a bit of a keypad. Let me just read the flavor text first. I know she hides the good stuff behind this door, but it's locked with a keypad. I can't see her enter the numbers, but I can hear the subtly different sounds they make. Once, while at her desk, I managed to press a few buttons. Hopefully that's enough to work out the code, since I think I'll only get one more chance. If we take a look over at the image here, we have a keypad and we have short and introductory text. I just put a bit more flavor text over here. But here I have Beppe Bopo Beep Boop Boop. I heard those noises when she entered the code. I managed to try only 3 keys, 7, 6D, and it made the noises beep, boop, bopo. I'll only get one more chance. What's the code? So you have to figure out what the code to the door is in this puzzle. And I'll give you a chance to look at this, take a look at it, and see if you can figure out or get an idea about how you would figure out the code for this puzzle. As usual in these puzzles, I provide some tags for these, and these go to my dictionary of words of what these things are. And just from them alone, you can often maybe figure out a little bit about the puzzle. So let me just reveal them first of all. We have spatial, pseudolingual, and decoding. And that tells you a lot about what the puzzle's about. We can click on each of them and see what they talk about. So if we click on spatial, you'll see it refers to somewhere the piece is in the environment. So there's some sort of spatial layout here, and we know that from the keypad. We know this is a spatial layout, so it has to do with this layout. And the second one here I noted is this is pseudolingual, is exactly that, an appearance quality masquerading as text. Now it's a little bit opaque the way I say it, but what it means is that we have these words here, beppe, bopo, beep, boop, bopo, boop, and they look like words, but they're not really words in this text here. I could use other graphics, other things could have been used for it, so that gives you a hint about what it is, but the actual characters are irrelevant. And the last one is decoding. Decoding puzzles are where you have one form that's been changed from another form, and you can read through this description if you want, but the key here is that there's obviously an encoding that's been performed, and now you have to decode it. Knowing that, you can see, well, I have these words, and we have the spatial layout, and I have these numbers. Somehow, these have to relate to each other. That is, if I choose a key, it has to become one of those. And this is where my 3 examples come from. I have a 7, and it has to encode into this beep. We're going to assume it's a one-to-one encoding or mapping. And then we have this keypad in the middle, and the keypad has the numbers on it, the ones we can punch in, and it has a layout. We look at it, and the 7 has to become this beep somehow. And so the 7 is here. And we have these capitalizations here. And if you look at the capitalization, you can notice something strictly from that on the 7. We can make the assumption that, well, it's the 3rd letter capitalized, and 7 happens to be in the 3rd row. And it's like, how can I check if that is relevant? Well, let's go to the next one. And there's a 6. And so by that logic of the capitalization, the 6 is boop, and the O is capitalized. That's the 2nd one, and it's in the 2nd row. So we have at least partial confirmation. Usually you should do 3 for confirmation, and that's usually why I always give 3, because with 2, you can often easily find other patterns, so I stick with 3 to a minimum. And the D, it's Bopo with the capitalized O, and that corresponds to the 4th row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4th row, D is indeed in the 4th row. So from that, we can determine that the capitalization refers to what row the key is in. With the code that she entered, it's going to be the 4th, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, 4th row. We at least know that. But we have to figure out the column. And this is where the pseudolingual aspect comes from. These aren't really words. We already know the capitalization is wrong. Beep and boop are words, but beppe and bopo are not. And we see 4 words. And there's not really a pattern to the words. There's a reversal of the ends and the 2 letters in the middle. We're not clear, but we know that somehow that encoding still has to include the column. So if we ignore the capitals, what happens? Well, let's take the straightforward approach. And always do this puzzle. Just take the straightforward approach first. What's the simplest thing you can do? Well, 7 is in the 1st column. Well, let's just say beep is the 1st column. All right. 6 is in the 3rd column. Let's just say boop is the 3rd column because the 6 is there. Bopo is D is the 4th column. Let's just say it's the 4th column because that's where it is. This is easy enough. We just make that assumption. So we have beep is the 1st column. Boop is the third column, and Bopo is the fourth column. And that would mean this Bepe, by process of elimination, is the second column. So there is kind of a mini pattern to this encoding. We have beep, Bepe, boop, Bopo. If we had more columns, you could see how that would continue with other letters, but that's enough. We're going to assume that that forms a pattern, and it's the simplest pattern you can quickly find. Now that you have all the information, take the time to decode this message. All right, so I've given you a chance. If maybe you have one letter wrong or something, but let's take a chance at this. Let's decode the final message. We have Bepe. We said Bepe is the second column, and we have the fourth letter capitalized, so that's going to be a 0. The first letter is a 0. It shows wrong because obviously it's not completely entered yet. It doesn't mean the first letter is wrong. So the second one now, Bopo. Bopo we said is the last column, and the second letter is capitalized, so that will going to be a B. Or you can type a capital B. I generally make the input, doesn't matter, but for consistency here, I'll make it a B. Then we have beep. We said beep is the first column. The first letter is capital, so this is a 1. This part of the puzzle, what I'm doing now, is called the work. We figured out the rules of the game, and we're just going through it and figuring out what all the letters are. And I always have just enough codes to prove that you've understand the encoding of what's going on. It would be pointless to make it longer because nobody likes a lot of tedious work. Boop, we said, is the third column, third row. That's going to be a 9. And another boop is also the third column, fourth row, is the pound symbol. And there we have it. It is correct. And that's my puzzle, Beep Boop. Feel free to share this, send it around. The image is self-contained. It shows what's in it. The flavor text obviously isn't self-contained, but if you post it somewhere, you can copy and paste that as well. Direct back to this page so people can check the answer, and to give you the links to the information about these types of puzzles. If you haven't already had a chance, check out my game Cookies. Are you her favorite flavor? It's a mini adventure, just like our full games, but it's available for free to give you a taste of an online escape game. Thank you very much. Don't forget to sign up to my mailing list to get these puzzles on a regular basis. Have a nice day and see you next puzzle.